Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. So check this timeline out. First, got this one from Daily Mail. Hamas accepts Gaza's ceasefire proposal from Egyptian and Qatari mediators, but Israel refuses, describing the deal as a ruse. Hamas had told Egyptian and Qatari mediators that it had accepted their Gaza ceasefire proposal, but Israel has refused and described the deal as a ruse. The Palestinian terror group issued a statement on Monday saying its supreme leader, Ismail Haniyeh, had discovered the news in a phone call with Qatar's prime minister and Egypt's intelligence minister. The two Middle Eastern nations had been mediating months of talks between Israel and Hamas. There were no immediate details over what the engagement entailed. But an Israeli official said the proposal that Hamas had accepted was a softened version of the Egyptian proposal, which included far-reaching conclusions that Israel could not accept. This would appear to be a ruse intended to make Israel look like the side refusing a deal, said the Israeli official, who spoke on condition of anonymity. The ceasefire deal is a three-phased agreement, and each is 42 days long, the group's deputy chief in Gaza told Al Jazeera on Monday. Also said the second stage of the agreement stipulates a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. After Hamas had agreed to the mediator's proposal of a ceasefire, the ball is now in the court of Israel occupation, the official told AFP on condition of anonymity. IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari said during a press conference tonight, "We are exhausting the potential about negotiations and bringing back the hostages, and that is our main mission, to bring them home as quickly as possible. But in parallel, we are continuing to act in an operational manner in the Gaza Strip, and we will continue to do so." He added that Israel was considering Hamas's agreement to the ceasefire proposal along with any other option that would lead to returning the hostages. But Hagari said that Israel was still preparing for a potential Rafah operation. Which brings me to this other article here from the New York Post. Let me center it up a little bit. Right there. Okay. Israel begins the Rafah offensive after rejecting Hamas ceasefire ploy. Israel is stating that they do not believe that Hamas is going to honor the ceasefire, or they're not going to give back the hostages or something like that, right? But Israel has begun its military operation into Rafah after rejecting Hamas's ceasefire claim as a deception. IDF forces are now attacking and operating against the targets of the terrorist organization Hamas in a targeted manner in Rafah. The Israel Defense Forces, the IDF said in a statement Monday, the world's eyes are now on the southern city of the Gaza Strip, where more than 1 million Palestinians have taken refuge while fleeing war elsewhere in the territory. And we know that Hamas likes to ingrain itself with the public. And I would assume that a lot of the people in the public are on that same side, considering it's their relatives and people that they know and people that they share faith with. Not everybody, of course, but that's just be the sentiment that I would assume. Following Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh's announcement that the deal was accepted, Israeli officials told multiple outlets that the deal presented to the terror group was a softened version of what was really on the table and not being taken seriously by Jerusalem. One official told Reuters that the announcement was a clear ruse by the terror group to create backlash against Israel for refusing a deal. The officials told Can TV that the announcement of a ceasefire agreement was a Hamas deception. Late Monday, Israel's war cabinet unanimously agreed to launch the operations, despite the strenuous objections of the Biden administration. Biden has done this to himself. He's put himself between a rock and a hard place. Essentially, no matter what he does, he's going to lose support in this election from one side or the other. Continuing, the news of Hamas's acceptance of the ceasefire deal immediately triggered celebrations across Gaza, where Palestinians cheered and chanted in the streets. Israel has repeatedly rejected any ceasefire deal that calls for an end to the war, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that the conflict will only end once Hamas has been eradicated and Gaza proves to no longer be a threat to the Jewish state. Well, with that in mind, that's where I say the United States needs to pull their funding. I'm sorry, but the United States should only fund war operations when the people involved, the leaders involved, are only strictly working towards a peace agreement. As an American taxpayer, I do not want to fund the death of somebody that's halfway around the world that has nothing to do with me. If Israel and Gaza want to continue their holy war that has gone on for centuries, they're going to need to leave the United States out of it. And the United States is going to need to just pull back and say, hey, look, if y'all are just hell-bent on killing each other and destroying each other, we're not going to have anything to do with it. We're not going to have boots on the ground. We're not going to supply one missile, bullet, dollar, one piece of bread, one drop of water. Y'all are on your own, unless you guys legitimately want to work towards a peace agreement. And if you're going to fake it, we're out. And that goes for Ukraine too. I'm tired of sending billions and billions and tens of billions to countries halfway around the world when our own borders need to be secured. We have young people that are homeless. We have veterans that don't know where their next meal is coming from. We have the return of all kinds of sicknesses that have basically been eradicated from our society are all making a resurgence because of the influx of people that are coming across our southern border. Interest rates are off the charts. Groceries and inflation are off the charts. The cost of living is off the charts. The cost of gasoline is off the charts. And I just don't feel like we have a dollar to fucking spare to continue fighting foreign wars that we have nothing to gain. Now, if you want to try to convince me that we have to do this because it is in American individuals' best interest, the taxpayers like me and you, not some corporation, not some politician, none of that. Let me know how it makes my life and my country better by continuing to fund these things without funding going towards our own problems. Something I talk about on this channel all the time is Social Security. I think every time they want to send $1 overseas, they need to match it into our Social Security fund. You want to send $1 billion overseas to anybody? Guess what? $1 billion also goes into Social Security. We need to make examples that we care as a government, as a country, for the American tax-paying workers' retirement. People should not be asked to work until they die because a government can't get their spending in control. And furthermore, on this Social Security thing, we got all these people coming across the border, getting work visas, taking people's jobs, and keeping wages down in a time of inflation. Guess what comes next? The left is going to say, first, these people live here, they work here, they're residents in this country, and they deserve the right to vote. Then, whenever they hit retirement age, you can bet your bottom dollar the left will be advocating that these same people that broke into our country illegally, criminally, then took jobs from Americans who wouldn't accept these positions because the positions were not offering enough, it was not worth their time, and it was not providing enough for them to commit 40 hours plus a week to, while not being able to pay for their bills and have a little bit of cushion. These people are going to be put on Social Security. I've been paying into Social Security since I started working at 15 years old. It's nearly 30 years. And I'm looking at the potential of folks that come over into our country at our age or later on in life, haven't put a dime into the system, haven't committed 1 ounce of energy into this country at all, are suddenly going to be entitled to receive Social Security benefits. It's not going to work. I don't see how I'm going to be able to retire and depend on Social Security when the time comes for me and my family when we need it. It's one of the reasons why I started this channel, so that I could actually change my life from fixing other people's problems with my hands and back with the expense of costing myself my health. My hands and back were literally deteriorating faster than they could recover. So I took a risk and started doing this. It hasn't paid off yet, but I'm committed. And I have faith in God that this is where I'm supposed to be. And that's why I try to get better and better every single day, like we all should. And it just drives me crazy that the United States leaders would even consider continuing to fund this type of war. I don't even know. Is it a war? Is it just a slaughter? What is it? I don't really feel like Hamas stands a chance against Israel. After Israel has received all the money, the billions of dollars that the U.S. has given it. And you might say, well, Iran is funding Hamas. Well, you know, if the United States wants to go to war with Iran, they need to just declare it. Screw a proxy war through Israel and Hamas to fight Iran. I'm over this nonsense, and that's probably the next step. I've been hearing from some friends who are in the military that they are 45 days out from being shipped to somewhere undisclosed for an undisclosed amount of time. You can take that for what it is. I don't know anything else besides that. But with what we can witness here, the writing kind of appears to be on the wall. I mean, we are constructing a beachhead on the beach of, on the coast of Gaza. A beachhead is a landing place for military to move from sea to land, for those that didn't know. But let's continue here. Thousands of Palestinians are fleeing parts of Rafah after Israel issued warnings it was planning to start military action. President Biden has repeatedly warned Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu not to go ahead with a Rafah offensive unless the IDF could secure the safety of the civilians, which they're not. And honestly, I don't think that they care at this point. Like I said, it's a holy war, right? They're fighting ideology as well as defending themselves against people that hate them because of their ideology, It's just never ending, and there's no peace, and neither side is acting like they really want a true peace. It would just be a temporary stoppage so that they can get stronger and then go back to fighting again. I have no interest as an American taxpayer to continue that perpetual war that will never end and only amount in the cost of lives being cut short too early. And as a Christian, I believe that when people die before they accept Jesus, essentially, they go to hell. And I don't want people to go to hell. So therefore, I'm anti-war. People are being literally ripped off from their souls over corrupt governments who won't just value humanity and life, and instead are hell-bent on just killing their enemy, right? That goes for the United States government, Israel government, Iran, Hamas, Palestine, whatever. It goes for everybody. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share this video, like it, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.